Welcome. If you are watching this, you are looking for a better way to make decisions as a neighborhood, a local group, or an organization without devolving into endless arguments, board politics, or fractured relationships. Most of us are used to one specific model of decision-making: majority rule. 51% of the room votes yes, 49% votes no, and the 51% forces their will on everyone else. In a neighborhood or community group, that model is toxic. It creates winners and losers, it breeds resentment, and it leaves half your block feeling ignored. The alternative isn't chaos or endless talking circles. It's a process called voice, vote, value. This is a practical framework designed to solve real problems, protect individual boundaries, and reach unanimous consent without coercion. Now, before we walk through the steps, there is one major rule to understand about this process. This is a problem-solving format, not a social hour. We aren't here during this process to share long stories or get into detailed personal histories. There are plenty of other times for building relationships over meals or backyard hangouts. When we step into a voice, vote, value meeting, we are here to focus our energy on a single problem, respect everyone's time, and reach alignment cleanly. Every gathering needs a facilitator, and in our framework, we call this person the servant. The servant is a referee, not a boss. Their job is to keep order and protect everyone's agency and make sure that no single person dominates the room. They don't advocate for an outcome or try to persuade anyone, and they don't push their own agenda. They simply manage the process. Alongside them, a record keeper simply writes down what's agreed upon or notes if an idea needs to be paused. So, here's how the first phase, voice, works. The servant introduces the specific problem or proposal, and then goes around the circle inviting each person one by one to speak. There are 5 essential rules during the voice phase. Number 1, no interruptions or cross-room debate. When it's someone's turn to speak, everyone else listens, period. Number 2, strictly limited responses. Your input during voice is limited to 3 things: sharing a new idea, voicing a specific concern or reservation, or stating support. Number 3, passing to think. If it comes to your turn and you need more time to process the proposal or gather your thoughts, you can simply say pass. There is 0 pressure to perform on the spot, and the servant will simply return to you after everyone else has spoken. Number 4, the I agree rule. This is how we save time and keep our meetings efficient. If someone before you already said what you were thinking, you don't need to re-explain it, add a story, or give a long-winded reason why you agree. You simply say, I agree with Sarah, or I support option B, and pass to the next person. Stating agreement takes 3 seconds and keeps us out of the weeds. And finally, number 5, witnessing, not persuading. Voice is about gathering facts and understanding where people stand. It is not the time to argue or try to convince your neighbor to see things your way. Once the servant has gone around the room, sometimes taking a few rounds, they synthesize what was shared and listen for readiness. If the room feels calm and general alignment is clear, the leader frames a working proposal and opens a quick secondary round of voice to let the group refine it until everyone feels comfortable. And then, once that calm alignment is present in the room, the servant asks a simple question: do we have a move to consent? And at this point, two things must happen. One person says, I move to consent. And a second person says, I second the motion. Notice what does not happen here. There are no speeches, no last-minute arguments, and no debate. A motion and a second simply tell the servant that the room is ready to move from voice to vote. Now comes the vote. In this framework, we only recognize unanimous consent. Everyone in the room has two options. You either vote consent or you vote withhold consent. If you choose to withhold consent, your personal boundaries and agency are completely respected. You do not owe the room a long defensive explanation. If a proposal impacts your home, your family, or your stewardship in a way you aren't comfortable with, you simply withhold consent. Now, what happens if the vote is not unanimous? What if 11 people say yes and one person says withhold? In a typical board meeting, people would pressure or guilt that one person until they give in. In voice, vote, value, we do the exact opposite. If consent is not unanimous, the idea rests. Putting an idea to sleep doesn't mean it was rejected, killed, or that anyone has failed. It just means the proposal isn't ready yet. So it's set aside without any penalty, shame, or stigma. The leader can assign a two-person subgroup to rework the details offline and bring a modified version back later when better alignment exists. Finally, we have an absolute speed rule. Never force a decision out of urgency or fear. If time pressure, panic, or rushing starts to drive the meeting, the process stops immediately and the discussion pauses until calm is restored. This brings us to the final element, value. Value is what makes this entire framework worthwhile. It is the practical return on investment for using a structured process instead of an unstructured debate. Value happens in three direct ways. First, value protects the individual and the household. Your time, energy, and personal boundaries are never overrun by a majority vote or loud personalities. You maintain full sovereignty over your home and your stewardship. Second, value protects the group leaders. Facilitators and organizers don't have to carry the stress of forcing compliance, managing interpersonal drama, or playing politics. The framework carries the weight, not the person in charge. And third, value creates real, lasting follow-through. When a group reaches unanimous consent cleanly, execution becomes effortless. People step up to help because they weren't pressured into a plan. They actively chose it. So to summarize the entire process, voice leads vote. Every single person gets to speak without interruption or pass if they need time. We keep it efficient. Use the I agree rule to keep meetings fast and focused. Consent must be unanimous. No majority rule, no forcing 49% to comply. Ideas can rest. If it's not unanimous, send the work offline without stigma. And finally, value is created. Individual boundaries are preserved, friction disappears, and voluntary commitment takes its place. This is how a group moves away from tension, politics, and power struggles into clear, trusted, voluntary alignment. Thank you for watching. Let's build something great together in our Fearless Pods.